where these eyes chose to hide. Vast oceans of years stayed her heart apart from mine. She's my homeland, ever calls me. She's the first love ever known. I've been sailing for to see her. I'll be waiting alone. Night falls again o'er this mist round her face. Light's never been made but to bless her embrace. From the valleys and the meadows to the highlands up above, in the sunlight she enchants me, in the moonlight she's my love. Roads round her wide, rambling streams run from sight. Blessed footsteps divine strode these hills as do mine. Golden fields of blossom clovers leave me no choice where to go. Wish me well there, I will dwell there in this land called my home. stayed her heart apart from mine. She's my homeland, ever calls me. She's the first love ever known. I've been sailing for to see her. I'll be waiting alone. Night falls again o'er this mist round her face. Night's never been made but to bless her embrace. From the valleys and the meadows to the highlands up above, in the sunlight she enchants me, in the moonlight she's my love. Rambling streams run from sight. Blessed footsteps divine strode these hills as do mine. Golden fields of blossom clovers leave me no choice where to roam. Wish me well there, I will dwell there in this land called my home.
Torridon in northwest Scotland is, in my opinion, one of the most scenic places on earth. It feels as old as time itself. Though the mountains are a mere 30 million years young, about the same age as the Alps, the rock from which they were originally formed goes back 300 million years. It is one of the unspoiled areas of Britain, sparsely populated, where Loch Torridon until very recent times was used for commuting as roads are today. Our travels, as seen through an eye of an eagle or from the basket of a hot air balloon, will take us from the head of Loch Torridon to the even more remote peninsula of Applecross. Applecross lies north of Caerlaugh-Lachalsh, where the ferry goes over to the Isle of Skye, and its inaccessibility led St Malruba to create a sanctuary here which continued to shelter fugitives until the Reformation. Until recent times, the only way into Applecross was over the notorious Bealach Pass, or by boat. Now a road, albeit a narrow one, links Applecross and Torridon. An old black house with its turf roof, left vacant only 2 years ago, and all around the bleak and silent relics of families long gone down to the cities and over the seas. Away on the far side of Loch Torridon, under this massive rocky outcrop, is Gearbig. Here on the Applecross side, a few families at Fairnmore contrived to make a livelihood from crofting and fishing. Fairnmore is a Highland Shangri-La. The Kirk of Applecross is this massive rock tower which rises in a series of giant steps to the summit plateau of Ben Van. Throughout these mountains there is an abundance of high remote ledges favoured by golden eagles. The eastern approach to Bealach Nambar, the Pass of the Cattle, the road a mere scratch winding up through these great Torridonian sandstone mountains. Close to the summit of Bealach Nambar, which at 2,053 feet is the highest road in West Scotland, often impassable in winter with snow. Perhaps it's time to leave the road and fly with the golden eagle.
mystical mountains, the cool rushing streams. But now when I see them, it's only in my dreams. Though I'm far away now, beneath the tropical sky, I want to be back where eagles fly. On the wings of an eagle, fly me home. Take me over the hills and the valleys where I used to roam. I can see it so clearly, the vision so strong. Because where eagles fly, that's where I belong. The scent of the pine trees and the warmth of the day, the peaks in the springtime as the snow melts away, walking down by the ocean when the water is high, reflecting all that I long for, where eagles fly. On the wings of an eagle, fly me home. Take me over the hills and the valleys where I used to roam. I can see it so clearly, the vision so strong. Because where eagles fly, that's where I belong. Because where eagles fly, that's where I belong. Because where eagles fly, that's where I
Ben Van is a good example of the magnificent rock architecture of the Applecross Mountains. The name means the White Mountain, and when it is white with snow and ice, these huge corries offer some of the best winter climbing in Scotland. We'll leave the Applecross Mountains and head northwards to Loch Torridon. Ahead is the village of Shieldig. The name is a corruption from the Norse, Sildvik, meaning herring bay. Shieldig was created early in the 19th century, and it was seen as a source of recruits for the Navy. There was a shortage of sailors at the time, and Napoleon's ships were making a nuisance of themselves off this northwestern coast, destroying fishing boats and coasters. Local boats still do some fishing around the lochs, but it's a place of great peace, especially on days like this when the wind is not coming in from the Atlantic and the air is clear. Visually, there are few places to rival Loch Torridon. Everywhere you look, the land and water seems to shape themselves into pictures. Further along the south shore of the loch is Kenmore. Here too the houses crowd the shoreline as if awaiting the return of fishing boats. At the north end of Glen Shieldig is this tranquil loch with a fine standing of Scots pines. At one time, of course, the whole area was covered with such trees. Hemmed in by great walls of Nice, the village of Gearbig is the perfect harbour. The name means deep bay in Norse, and such shelter would have been valued by the Vikings. The road ends at Gearbig, and to get there it climbs high above Loch Torridon's north shore, over the Pass of the Wind. Also on the north shore is this famous exposure of Nice, a wonderful pinkish-coloured rock, 1,500 million years old, one of the oldest known rocks on the planet. Stories are told of illicit whisky distilling at Gearbig. One such tale is of a crofter called Norman Mackenzie, who gave himself up to the authorities when he found that it was illegal to distill his own Mountain Dew. He was fined £30 or the option of a further 30 days inside. Though his benevolent estate factor volunteered to pay the fine, Norman decided that the jail was very cosy and enjoyed 30 days' holiday at the Crown's expense. The spit at the narrows of Loch Torridon is known as Whisky Point. From here, at one time, the water of life was sold to passing boats. On a day such as this, even without a dram, it is difficult to imagine a more serene place. As on many other sea lochs, there are few fish to be caught nowadays, but on balmy summer days, locals still try their luck. Further up the coast from Loch Torridon at Gairloch is this superb beach overlooked by the cemetery. I think there's a Highland tradition to provide departed loved ones with a final resting place which has a first-class view. Difficult to do otherwise in this scenic place. The village of Gairloch is still a busy fishing port. The salmon fishing station at Red Point, another place where the road ends. But if you hike a few miles along the coast, you come to the road again at Giabig. On the way, there is the shelter of Craig Youth Hostel, one of the most remote in the country. Down in Loch Torridon, two brothers, Kenny and Dickie Livingston, fish throughout the year, often in desperate weather. But all the time, lobsters and crayfish get scarcer. Our balloon passes Benny and drifts towards Loch Marie. At the east end of the loch, a waterfall spills from the remote high country to the north. Benny, one of the great mountains of Glen Torridon. It's the centre of a national nature reserve, protecting the Caledonian pines as well as the red deer, golden eagles and pine martens. On the other side of Loch Marie is Slioch, the Spear. This is stunning country to walk through, even more so from above. It's only from the air or from the lofty flanks of Slioch that one can appreciate the complexity of the islands of Loch Marie. Loch Marie's western end is only a couple of miles from the sea, from where it runs 12 miles inland through the mountains. It has a good deal of woodland on its shores and islands, and it's rich in history and folklore. Most famous of the islands is Isle Marie. Pagan rites involving bull sacrifices occurred here as late as the 17th century. It was sacred to the Druids, and Saint Malruba established a monastery here. During the Viking occupation, a Celtic chief's daughter married a Norse prince. As her husband was away much of the time, she began to doubt his love, and once when he returned, she pretended to be dead. On seeing his apparently lifeless bride, the prince stabbed himself in the heart. In her remorse, she took the dagger from his chest and plunged it into her own. Both are buried on Isle Marie. There is a wonderful feeling of tranquility on this island, though it looks as if witches have been at work here. A well-chosen site for worship and contemplation. These are said to be the graves of the Viking and his bride. A well reputedly cured madness, and for luck, coins were hammered into the holly or holy tree. The well is now dry, and the tree dead from copper poisoning. Now we leave Loch Marie to soar into the mountains, up towards Ben A. Its name in Gaelic means the file, after the serrated summit crest of the mountain. Beyond the ridge we'll eventually reach Corrimacaracha, one of Scotland's finest corries.
Drifting away, drifting away. I'm leaving today, and I'm drifting away. Freedom is something I don't want to share. I'm feeling so good now. I'm lighter than air. Don't know where I'm going, but I don't really care. I'm drifting, drifting away. Drifting away, drifting away. I'm leaving today, and I'm drifting away, breaking all the ties that bind me, leaving all the lies behind me today. You'll never reach me now, stop trying, save your excuses, 'cause I'm not buying today. I'm drifting away. Now that I'm free again, I'm gonna fly over the seas and the mountains high. So blow me a kiss as I wave you goodbye. I'm drifting, drifting away. Drifting away, drifting away. I'm leaving today, and I'm drifting away, drifting away, drifting away.
We leave the ridges of Benet and Legach, the grey one, to look at some of the changing moods of this beautiful place. It's a landscape that has barely changed in 1,000,000 years, except, of course, for the pine forests, now, alas, gone. That was man's contribution. Let's hope that our future treatment of these places is less destructive. We start our journey round and through the Cairngorms here at Carbridge, close to Aviemore. The huge elevated mass of the Cairngorms is the heart of the Scottish Highlands. All around us here lies a wealth of antiquity, castles and distilleries, rich farmland and ancient forests. This island stronghold of Lochindarb, at the northern fringe of the Cairngorms, was a favourite haunt of the notorious troublemaker, the Wolf of Badenoch. It was from this lair that he and his men prowled out in 1390 to burn down Elgin Cathedral. We take the high route eastwards over these great rolling Grampian mountains. Below the red deer and the grouse on the moors, for much of this land is large sporting estates. Many glens and rivers later, we come to the green and tranquil valley where stands the ruins of Kildrummy Castle. However, it wasn't always tranquil here, for the castle, which dates from the 13th century, has a bloody history. It was the seat of the ancient earldom of Mar, and here Robert the Bruce's brother Nigel was betrayed by the castle blacksmith. The castle was another target of the Wolf of Badenoch. He captured it and forcibly married the Mar heiress, Lady Christian, thereby setting himself up as an earl. A few miles down the road at this clump of trees near Lumfennin, Macbeth was reputedly buried after he was slain by Malcolm Canmore. But it's said his body was exhumed and taken to its final resting place on the island of Iona off the west coast. Long after Macbeth, melodrama came again to this peaceful village during the reign of James VI. It was infamous for its witchcraft trials. All that remains of the Peel of Lumfennin. This artificial mound would have had a wooden fort on top covered in mud so that it couldn't be fired. But not all the castles are ruins. Deep in the hills, like a symbol of isolation and defiance, stands Corgarth Castle. And on Royal Deeside, the best known castle of all, Balmoral.
see the swans on the Dee. And if you'll consent to go walking with me, we will stroll hand in hand through this beautiful land to see the white swans on the Dee. The river flows swiftly, the river flows wide, and passes Balmoral on Royal Deeside. It starts in the hills at the pools of the Dee, spilling into the ocean at Aberdeen Quay. It's lovely to see the swans on the Dee, and if you'll consent to go walking with me, we will stroll hand in hand through this beautiful...
When the royal family are at Balmoral every year in August, they worship here at Crathy Church with the local people. Invercauld House, seat of the chiefs of Clan Farquharson, it's close to Braemar, a village that draws many visitors, notably to the Braemar Gathering, a royal event on the Highland Games circuit, bringing athletes, pipers and visitors from all over the world. Braemar Castle dates from 1628. It has been sacked and burned fairly regularly, but its warring days are over, and it now appears so tidy and sedate that I think it looks like a transplant from Disneyland. In the centre of the village are the ruins of the much more ancient Kindrochic Castle, which has not had the benefit of cosmetic restoration. The Linn of Dee, an idyllic gorge guarded by Caledonian pines. Beyond here you walk. There's no more road. Loch Nagar has been a special mountain for many people. Lord Byron, who first climbed it at the age of 15, later wrote of the steep frowning glories of dark Loch Nagar.
The gentle land rises and heads to the west, and peaks at the summit of Loch Nagar's crest. The ptarmigan's cry can be heard in the mist, and the roar of the stag high on Carina-Kist. It's lovely to see the swans on the Dee, and if you...
Glasaltshiel Lodge on the shore of Loch Mick was built for Queen Victoria. She enjoyed the great seclusion of the house.
To see the white swans on the Dee.
Duloch. Not surprisingly, it means the Black Loch, nestling beneath the sombre 1,000-foot granite cliffs of Craigan Duloch.
Oh, it's lovely to see the swans on the Dee, and if you'll consent to go walking...
This is the remote Garracorry of Benavoord, a wild and wonderful corner of the Cairngorms not often visited. Because this place is so inaccessible, climbing here in winter can be a serious undertaking and pose major rescue problems should anything go wrong. Another remote but more gentle place is Upper Glen Tilt. This glen was once a well-used route from Blair Castle to Braemar via the Linn of Dee. It was traversed by such illustrious people as Robert the Bruce and Bonnie Prince Charlie, and the 27 miles from the Linn of Dee to Blair Castle is still a popular hike for modern-day adventurers. Blair Castle is, in my opinion, the most exciting castle in Scotland. Not only does it look magnificent, but it has a wealth of treasures. The Cummings Tower of Blair is said to have been built about 1280. I regard this ivory compass, which belonged to Bonnie Prince Charlie, as one of the great exhibits. If only it could relate its travels with its illustrious owner during and after the 1745 rebellion. Here, beside the A9, is the site of the Battle of Killiecrankie, where the Highlanders defeated Lowland Scottish and English troops, but lost their inspiring leader, Bonnie Dundee. And to the southeast, 15th century Glamis. Dyke Lodge is probably the most remote in the whole of the Cairngorms. On Christmas Eve, 1799, 5 men perished here in an avalanche which swept the gully on the right and demolished the old lodge. Its replacement was built at a more respectful, safer distance from the hill. Dromorta Pass carries the A9 main road to the north of Scotland. Gates at both ends close the pass during severe blizzards. And for the traveller caught by a snowstorm, where better to seek shelter than one of the many local distilleries? Trees near Lagan Bridge mark the site of what's known as Cope's Turn, where General Cope, thinking prudence better than valour, decided against fighting Bonnie Prince Charlie's approaching army. And on this hill is the Fort of the Two Hands, a well-preserved Iron Age fort with walls 25 feet thick in places. Down the glen, Loch Lagan stretches through a superb setting for 7 miles, wild country used as a hunting ground by the ancient kings. Legend has it that King Fergus of Dalriada, who died in 501, is buried on the south side of the loch. Queen Victoria stayed here at Ardvericke in 1847. At the south end of the Corrierich Pass is Garver Bridge on the old military road. Imagine the young Prince Charles Edward Stuart with his Highlanders and full of hope striding along this road in August 1745 at the start of that doomed campaign. A royal castle stood on this site in 1451. Since then, it's been destroyed and rebuilt several times. The present structure, the remains of Ruthven Barracks, built for government troops, dates from 1718. After their defeat at Culloden, Prince Charlie and his clansmen met here and decided to abandon the rebellion. They set fire to the barracks and fled. Today, the only hoofbeats are the unhurried, peaceful ploddings of the pony trekkers. It was a local man, Cameron Ormiston, who introduced the sport and who borrowed the word trekking from the days of the Boer War. These sturdy ponies have opened up much highland wilderness to generations of people who might once have seen the hills only from the roadside. We have completed a circuit of the Cairngorms, and now, near Aviemore, we are back again in the killing grounds of the Wolf of Badenoch. Here on Loch Anealin, another of his strongholds crumbled to a picturesque ruin. At one time, the economy of the Spey Valley was largely dependent on timber, the Caledonian pine, a magnificent tree. Floaters, men who spent all day in the icy waters of the Spey, floated the logs down to the Moray Firth. Not surprisingly, they were renowned for consuming great quantities of the other mainstay of the economy, whisky. Nowadays, the rivers and lochs have become part of the leisure industry. Here on Loch Morlich, summer offers windsurfing and sailing against the vast backdrop of the great northern corries of the Cairngorms. Another visitor attraction is the restored Strathspey Railway. Reindeer were reintroduced to the Cairngorms from Lapland in the early 1950s and are now thriving. They are friendly creatures and very popular with tourists.
I just stripped that bit of velvet off her antlers because it's just at that. And this one here beside is also.
Some of them are employed by Santa Claus every Christmas.
He's got another of the calves that have been on the hill all summer, so he's one little case. Oh. His mother is very.
Soaring far above the Reindeer and the Spey Valley, we are in Corrylochen, one of the steep-sided corries on the northern face of the Cairngorms. The tops of these corries mark the edge of the Cairngorm Plateau, some of the highest ground in Britain. It's an alpine habitat with its own blend of wildlife, including birds like the snow bunting and ptarmigan. Loch Anne on the south side of Cairngorm, with Shelterstone Crag standing out like a giant tombstone. It's an isolated place, yet very popular with walkers and climbers, partly because there are no roads to Loch Anne. At the bottom of the Great Cliffs is the Shelterstone, a welcome refuge for anyone caught in a blizzard. Though lacking in mod cons, it can shelter 6 people with a fair degree of comfort. One of its temporary residents calculated that it weighs over 1,000 tons. Loch Anne, if you're looking for it on a map, is spelt Avon. It looks peaceful enough now, but in winter and blizzard conditions, this can be a dangerous place. Over the bleak plateau to Ben Macdui, highest of the Cairngorms and the second highest mountain in the country. On a sunny day, it's hard to believe that this top is the haunt of the spectre, the big grey man of Ben Macdui. It's been reported by such distinguished mountaineers as the late Professor Norman Colley. One Aberdeen climber, on leave in 1940, was so terrified that he emptied his army revolver into an apparition in the mist. The mountains further west are inaccessible and are only frequented by the really ardent climbers and hill walkers. These vast corries usually hold a great deal of snow well into the spring. We'll come back and see Bray Riach in its winter splendour. The huge glacial gash of the Larry Grue provides Scotland's best-known mountain walk. The Pools of Dee, close to the high point of the Larry Grue. This is where the River Dee starts its journey to Aberdeen in the North Sea. It is said that despite the low temperatures up here in winter, they never freeze over. But in winter the scene changes dramatically. You still have that great feeling of freedom, even more so. For many, the Cairngorms are chiefly a winter area. This, the roof of Scotland, draws in thousands of visitors to a landscape gentle in the sunshine but harsh in its storms. Away from the valley, the sense of spaciousness is heightened, and you don't have to walk far to attain great solitude. But winter weather in the hills can be treacherous, and it's a wise walker who knows all the time where the nearest shelter can be found. There are numerous bothies in the Cairngorms, like this one at Rivone, and it is a welcome sight through the snow. I know many climbers who have fond memories of sleeping here. The Cairngorms can be a place of profound desolation. Some find beauty in this darkness, but I've known people who are driven to a kind of melancholy by these bleak places. Down in the valley, a welcoming green carpet of pines round the landmark tower at Carbridge, giving a hint of the lost landscapes of the great Caledonian pine forests. Now we are back at Carbridge. Above Loch Morlich in these great northern corries, skiing has taken over as a major local industry. But to ski in Scotland you have to be dedicated, for the snow is not always abundant and the weather is not always kind. Today, however, it's glorious. This ancient sport is much more competitive. I promised we would return to Bray Riach when the snow arrived. In winter, this area is the ultimate in getting away from it all.
It's so exciting, a little frightening. I get so high, I feel as though I could fly. You take me higher, feel my desire. Don't lose control.
So-called extreme skiing is the favourite sport of Martin Burrow-Smith, Deputy Principal at Glenmore Lodge Outdoor Centre. Today, he hopes to make the first descent on skis of a steep gully on Bray Reach. Extreme skiing is not every skier's cup of tea. It is a challenging, dangerous sport, and especially so should anything go wrong in a place as remote as these Bray Reach corries. The temperature today is minus 16 degrees centigrade, and the best day of the winter so far. But the snow is still suspect, almost on the point of avalanching. On an open hillside, an avalanche is bad enough, but the funneling effect of a steep gully can build up a fall of lethal power heading for the rocks below. A thorough knowledge of snow structure is another essential for the extreme skier. Martin moves with great care onto the overhanging corners on the mountain's rim. Descending such steep snow is exhausting and demands a high standard of fitness. It's not an elegant sport, but you don't perform niceties when your life may be on the line. We'll leave Martin levelling out a bit and see how his friends Ingrid and Kenny tackle a less serious but faster moving descent. This is Cairngorm skiing at its best.
Exhilaration, anticipation. What will you do? I want to stay close to you. My head is spinning. I know you're winning. The game is fast, and I don't know if I can last. It's so exciting, a little frightening. It's so exciting, sometimes it's frightening. You're really moving, always improving. You lead the way.